Last year, 2024, was I think the best year for Chinese developers since the start of human civilization. Just tell me, how many big, great Western AAA games do you remember from this year? From Chinese developers you have like Delta Force, you have Wukong, you have Once Human, you have Fate Trigger the Novita and Fragpunk. That's like 6 high-performance games that are like AAA in scope. And the answer to the question why are Chinese developers outperforming Western counterparts is actually pretty easy. The first and very obvious thing is how good the Chinese work ethic is. They work all the time. They basically work from where they wake up to when they go to sleep. They release an updates like once per week with actually new content, new items, bug fixes, everything. They even ban cheaters. Actually, they have a lot of problems with cheaters. For example, in Delta Force you get a cheater like every second game, and that's a huge problem. They also have some different problems, like for example they can't make maps for shooter games like whatsoever. Like all their maps, like in for example Once Human, where you need to like shoot and have some PvP, or even like in Delta Force, all the maps are so freaking bad, it's crazy. Like if I tell you that like a teenager from Europe or from United States would design a map for a first-person shooter game, they would never design the map as badly as Chinese game developers are designing their maps. It just shows that the Chinese developers, they don't even have time to play the games they are making, and that's a big downside of their games, but they still focus on player feedback, and that's something that the Western game developers are not doing at all. Biggest like blob of Western games like Call of Duties or like Overwatch and games like this, like what happened with the Dragon's Age, Veilguard, like Veilguard, right? And Concord and games like this, like from the start of the development of all these Western games, players were like telling them like under YouTube comments on Steam pages, like everywhere, your game sucks, you need to fix your art style, you need to fix your characters, your like gameplay design, your bam, so much stuff, you know? And no one listens in the West, no one listens. That's actually because they don't really care about you, about me, about the players, because they get their money from somewhere else, from shareholders. Yeah, that sucks, but the Chinese, on the other hand, all those Chinese games, apart from Wukong that I'm talking about, are in free-to-play model, and they are not actually pay to win. If you look at Once Human, you don't get anything for paying to the Chinese developers, you get only skins, and the same comes with Fate Trigger, Fragpunk, or actually, you kinda get some stuff from the battle pass in extraction mode of Delta Force, but truth is that in the warfare mode you don't get anything. I think that will change, because like right now the Western developers like World of Warcraft and other games like this, they all focus on monetization, mostly, right? And I think that the Chinese developers will also focus on monetization, but just a little bit later in their game development road. I think that Chinese developers are just like not afraid to make like a main character monkey based. Chinese developers focus on pushing boundaries, Western developers focus on franchises and repetitive sequels. So like for example we get Overwatch 1, we get Overwatch 2, we get Call of Duty 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we get Call of Duty 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? And they have pretty cool marketing strategies, because Chinese game have a lot of playtest, they have some cool cinematic trailers, like really cool cinematic trailers, and they create hype with demos that players can come and join for a limited time before they fully release the game, while Western games mostly just show you advertisements on YouTube or on television even. You know, like for example the Cyberpunk, you are able to see Cyberpunk advertisement everywhere, and they kinda under-delivered on the release date. I mean, I'm actually a fan of Cyberpunk from the first day, but I think most of the people I agree with that it kinda under-delivered from the stuff we see in the TV or on YouTube in advertisements. Challenges that the Chinese game devs face are of course like heavy competition in a saturated market, but somehow I don't think it matters to them, you know? The influencers are not really there for Chinese game devs. I think they like really pop the bubble of the whole influencer marketing, because like games like Off the Grid pay for the best influencers to play them. Off the Grid actually dies faster than Chinese games. and Off the Grid stays on the top Steam games for like only 2-3 days, while Delta Force, for example, can do it like can stay there for like 10 days, 10 days for like 5 weeks, while not really paying any influencers, not paying like any marketeers, to show the gameplay on Twitch or on YouTube. And actually I also think that's pretty cool, because I think that game devs shouldn't be like all about paying influencers to play their games. I really prefer gamers deciding what they want to play instead of influencers showing gamers what they need to play. So I really like that shift. Yeah, you could argue that I'm a bit of influencer right now because I'm making a short video on YouTube. But actually, if you look at my subscribers count, you will pretty fast see that I'm not really an influencer. So yeah, I really like how the new Chinese game dev, how this year pretty much shows that game developers don't really need to care about influencers. I really must emphasize how Chinese show beautiful woman, because Western developers have a pretty big problem with showing off beautiful woman. Like, yeah, I like to see like a pretty woman character, and yeah, of course I prefer to play it if it's like a third-person game, and I of course prefer to shoot also a woman. Like, it's better to aim for a scope at a pretty woman, right? Or not? I don't know.